and welcome to today's Oil for the Journey Oil Change. I am your reader, Denise Denton Mitty, and today's oil change we're going to examine chapters 39 through 41 of the book of Jeremiah. Now, just some historical context, the book of Jeremiah, it's basically in the 6th century BC, 586, around there BC contextually. And what was happening was, as per Jeremiah's prophecy to the Judahites, the people of Judah, the Israelites in the land of Judah, hey, look, if you don't get your act together and you keep on sinning and worshiping idols and just doing whatever you like, the Babylonians are going to come, they're going to take over, and the Lord will allow them to take you as captives. So, to Jeremiah's prophecy in Jeremiah 1, and then here we are in Jeremiah 39 through 41, we see that taking place. And ironically, the Babylonians knew about this prophecy, so word had got out that the Israelites were in sin. The people of Judah were in sin. Remember, Judah was where the Jerusalem temple was, where they came to offer worship to Yahweh. So, needless to say, they were held captive. Jeremiah was held captive, kind of like a prisoner of war in Judah, and there were several deportations, several instances of Israelites being captured and taken to Babylon to their new home under the leadership of the pagan King Nebuchadnezzar, which you'll read about in Daniel, the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel is a contemporary of sorts to Jeremiah. Their time periods overlap somewhat. And in the book of Daniel, he was actually one of the Israelites that were taken, the Hebrews that were taken to Babylon. But here we look at this text. Jeremiah is still held captive in Judah, I guess waiting for his next turn to actually go to Babylon. And instead of going, we're going to focus on chapters 40 and 41 here, because that's where we want to glean from what we can take away in application. So in chapters 40 and 41, Jeremiah is kept there, and he is held captive. First, there was a guy there, Ishmael, who would overthrow Gedaliah in Mizpah. And Gedaliah was a governor that was appointed by Nebuchadnezzar, and he was an Israelite, a Judahite, and was appointed to be governor over these remaining or remnants of Israelites in Judah before they were deported out to Babylon. So here we are. I think this is the third deportation for a cycle of deportees that's going on from Judah to Babylon, and Jeremiah is there held captive. Now, Jeremiah is offered an opportunity to stay and basically enjoy the land, enjoy, with the rest of the remnants or those left over in Judah, to enjoy the barley and the wheat and the honey and just live. And even in fact, serve the Babylonian king in Judah. And Jeremiah would have nothing to do with it. He stuck to his guns, if you will. He was resolved, had his mind made up that he was going to serve no one but Yahweh. They respected him. God had promised that Jeremiah wouldn't be hurt throughout all of this. But needless to say, and he was promised that. He still suffered and probably was tortured while a prisoner of war, a prisoner in captivity in his own land. But he was not persuaded to go to Babylon. And they respected him because maybe they thought, hey, we got one of Yahweh's servants serving us, and we'll keep him alive just to show everybody else what happens if you mess with us, that type of thing. Maybe they kept him as a prisoner of war, as a token of good luck, superstition. So for whatever reason, they kept Jeremiah alive, and they believed his prophecy, but they were trying to convince him to go to Babylon. And then after, I believe it was Ishmael trying to kill Gedaliah, the governor, and basically succeeded in doing that. He was a wicked person, wicked leader, Ishmael of Nethanel. But needless to say, he also too offered Jeremiah the opportunity to go to Egypt, because after he killed one of the appointees, the governors that was appointed by Nebuchadnezzar, he may have feared for his life and they would have fled to Egypt. And he invited Jeremiah along with him. So Jeremiah had two opportunities to compromise. And here's the application. Two opportunities to come out of bondage, if you will, physical bondage, and either go to Babylon. They wouldn't kill him, they'd feed him and treat him nice, whether it was because of superstition or whether it was propaganda to show to the rest of the other nations that, hey, this big God of Israel, we got his prophet here under our control. We don't know the reason. The Bible doesn't dictate the reason, but two opportunities to leave bondage physically in Judah and either go to Babylon or go to Egypt. Jeremiah refused. Jeremiah's stance is indicative of what we have to have today as believers, as Christians. First of all, Jeremiah believed the word of God, believed what God spoke to him, and believed and followed the laws of God. And he wasn't going to worship any idols, and he wasn't going to worship any king of any idols, any pagan kings. Jeremiah believed the word of God. Jeremiah, despite the hardship that he went through, remember chapter 1 was a prophecy in the book of Jeremiah, but then the rest of the book, it details basically how they're being taken over. The people of Judah, the Israelites in Judah are being taken over by the Babylonians. Remember, at this point, Israelites are split, northern kingdom, southern kingdom. Southern kingdom was Judah, where Jerusalem was, and there was still some righteous believers there. Jeremiah stuck to his beliefs in the word of God, trusted in the word of God for his protection and his good measure. And I believe that God also used the enemy and whatever twisted reasoning the enemy may have contrived to also protect Jeremiah. And he stuck to his guns, even being offered a better life, a life more enjoyable, a life free from bondage where you could be just chilling, a protected life, somewhat. So our application today is that we will be offered, to just enjoy the pleasures of life, to do it. Sin is fun. Sin is pleasurable. Nobody said it wasn't. Going out and having sex with however many people you want to, that's pleasurable. Going out, smoking, drinking, and partying, that's pleasurable. The consequences aren't pleasurable. And that's what Jeremiah had his eye on. He had his eye on to know that anyone who didn't serve Yahweh, we're going to face the consequences, just like the people of Judah faced the consequences of their sin by being exiled into bondage under a pagan ruler, Nebuchadnezzar, in Babylon. So my brothers and sisters of the Word of God, believers in Yahweh, we need to stick to our guns, the Word of God, the promises of God, and not fall for the enticement, the temporary satisfaction or temporary fill that the pleasures of this world will offer. Because there are consequences, whether short term or long term. There are consequences. Let's be reminded that God will protect us, God will keep us, just like He did Jeremiah in the midst of the hardship, in the midst of the battle for our souls. So may God be with you, and thank you for participating in today's Oil for the Journey oil change.